Welcome to Evil Live, the live media commentary show that answers the question, are there any timeouts in the war between heaven and hell? Subscribe if you're new to the channel because today we are continuing our In Nomine Feast of Blades actual play with session 0, number 6. We've had 6. This is the 6th one. So there's a war between heaven and hell that has ultimately been raging since Lucifer's fall. And today we are creating a celestial to join in the war and ultimately play through the Feast of Blades adventure. Thank you for joining me today, Dana. How you doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm doing good.
Now, you and I have had a history of playing other tabletop role-playing games, but never this one. So have you ever heard of this before?
Never.
So it's a pretty interesting little game. The entire mechanic is based around 3/6s, so it's very simple. It's rules light, so there's no like encumbrance and sort of obscure movement rules like that. But it's really sort of focused on role playing, and so that's where character creation becomes pretty important. You need to
Okay.
think about the type of character that you want to embody, because ultimately you're going to have to choose today whether you want to be an angel or demon. Once you've made that choice, you decide whether or not you want to be what choir of angel, basically your race, and then what servitor you want to serve under. And that's basically going to help define your class. It's not as literal as that, but that's kind of the guideline I've been using just to help ease people into it who may not be familiar with this setting. So when you think about playing in a war between heaven and hell, knowing that you probably are going to be mixed in a mixed party, there's a lot of political boundaries that don't always line up specifically with just angels or just demons. They do sort of cross pollinate quite a bit on Earth. And so, what do you think about the angle you want to go in? You want to do celestial? You want to do infernal? What do you think?
Um, I'm kind of thinking going towards Infernal.
Ooh,
Just kind of
okay. Well, let me save this as your character sheet because this is an infernal character sheet here.
okay.
Let's see. All right, so
And I'm just kind of going through the book.
yeah,
So,
well, I can help you along that lines too, if you'd like. So ostensibly there are seraphim, which are the most holy, cherubim. I'm sorry, you were talking infernal. That's the wrong ones. So let's see, bands of demons. You got the Belseraphs, which are the liars, Jinn, which are the stalkers, Caliban, the destroyers, Habala, the punishers, Lilim, the tempters, Shedem, the corruptors, and Impudites, the takers. Lilim are a little bit different than the other ones because they were never, Lilith, sort of biblically speaking, was the
mhm.
first wife to Adam in the Eden experiment, and then Lucifer sort of, you know, put a word in her ear and gave her the opportunity of freedom, and she chose that over being ostensibly a slave to Adam. Um, and that really worked out for her well because now she's this incredibly powerful sort of entity that convinces people to do things through things called geeses, which is basically it's very much like a sort of a fantasy role playing game, Geese. You're convincing people to do something, and if they complete whatever that task is, then all is good and well. If they don't, then they start suffering for it. Um, but yeah, I mean, these other angelic or demonic bands are mirror counterparts to their angelic choirs, the fallen version of the angels, as it were. So when you think of an angel, I'm sorry, I don't know why I keep doing that. When you think of a demon, what kind of a demon do you think you want to play? One that tortures people, one that possesses people, one that sort of convinces people of, lies, or, how do you think you'd want to approach it?
So I'm just reading through all of the options again.
Yeah, there are a lot.
Yeah.
It really just kind of comes down to the style of play you would like your character to personify. Right now we have two Shedim, two Shedites, which are basically they possess other beings, but they
Mhm.
both follow different servitors, so they're just different types of characters. A lot of different options.
Gin kinda sound fun.
Ooh, we have a Jinn in the group
Okay.
as well. So they don't like to admit that they care as much as they do about things, but they're kind of interesting. Do you want to use that, the stalkers?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay. So
Do
the
that. Sounds
band is Jinn. All right, so they're sarcastic and disdainful. The Jinn don't get excited. That would be admitting that they cared about something beside themselves. So every angel has something called a resonance, which is basically
okay.
their true nature, their power that they can wield across what's referred to as the symphony, which is basically the fabric of space and time, the universe itself. And everything's sort of musically noted, hence resonance and dissonance and symphony and stuff like that.
Okay.
So your resonance, like a cherub, the Jinn's resonance is for a set of patterns he's attuned himself to through physical conduct. These patterns can be anything, a person, an object, or a place. And while you're attuned, you know its general location and condition. And so basically you connect to one other thing and you just have this sort of you're like protective over it basically.
Okay.
So the opposite of resonance, meaning what you need to do in your existence, is dissonance, and that's going against your resonance.
Okay.
You generate notes of dissonance. If you have too many of them, then they become something called a discord, which is like a deformity, either attached to your mind, body, or form, your physical form. So
Okay.
your dissonance for the Jinn is the frustration which Jinns feel about the Sheedim just shows how they really do care about things, no matter whether their poker faces lead them others to believe it or not. Their constant struggle between the refusal to care about anything and their need to feel cared about. Um, let's see. His attunement is hurt. The Jinn could care less about what happens to a pattern to which he's attuned, but he can't bring himself to cause it harm by his own hand. So you can, your resonance is to attune to something,
Okay.
and your dissonance is causing that attunement. Oh my gosh, harm. I'm sure
Okay.
I misspelled that
That's fine.
entirely. But anyway, you'll be able to correct that once I send this over to you.
Sure.
So, the manner of appearance for Jinn.
Mhm.
In their celestial forms, Jinn are various dark animals or escapees from a surrealist dream. Only the hated Sheedim look more hideous. So this is what you look like when you're in hell. If you ever happen to present your celestial form on Earth, which is very verboten, sort of looked down on, um, then that's what you would look like. It's just sort of a twisted, sort of alternate version of a sort of an animal creature that you can basically choose.
Okay.
But you're most likely to be found in dark corners, brooding. Your hearts are desolate from punishing their natural warm and sentimental souls. In the pit, there's no greater cynics than the Jinn. So there are a bunch of mechanics and stuff, but we can worry about that when we start dealing with gameplay and stuff that come
Okay.
into play with the Jinn. But it is kind of interesting because once you are attuned, it's easier for you to track down or to know when something's wrong there. So that's always nice. Interestingly enough, we do have a cherubim, which is your sort of angelic counterpart, who is an outcast. So they're like one step away from falling and becoming a demon. So that might
Okay.
be an interesting dynamic between the two of you, being the opposite sides of the same coin, as it were. Okay, so we
Interesting.
have your band. We know basically what your essence is. Now let's talk about who you serve. Everyone serves someone in this game. You generally won't have like one-on-one conversations with them very often because they're in charge of a word, like the word of God, as it were. So every demon and every angel of significance is assigned a word that resonates within the symphony. They try to further that word. So, like media, for example, is a really important and popular one. I don't know if you ever saw like American Gods or read the novel
Yeah.
by Neil Gaiman.
Yeah.
Very similar to that, where they have control of. In that it was very much gods needing humans to worship them, and then they'd become stronger. In this, it's
Mhm.
protecting that word that they have control over, and fighting to make sure that it stays a healthy word. And that's really where, when it comes down to class, my
Okay.
comparison is because you're serving less the person and you're serving more the word. So whether it's lust, game, war, nightmares, fire, gluttony, humor, fate, factions, media, death, theft, technology, or freedom, that's going to be the direction that your character personifies their natural, way of existence.
Okay.
So do you have any surface thoughts on any of these princes at all? Hey, Chris, thanks for watching, man.
Um, yeah, I'm kind of going through them. Let's see.
And then, of course, depending on the demon prince, they give you special powers that you can then use. And each one is different. And so that's another, sort of decision point to consider.
Yeah. Hmm.
So the other djinn is actually of Saminga,
Okay.
the Prince of Death. He runs basically like a funeral transportation service or a medical transportation, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. Valifor kind of looks fun.
Nice. Prince of Theft. So it's dissonant for servants of Valefor to stay in the same locale for more than 3 days. Their prince claims this keeps them from being recognized. A locale in modern world can be interpreted as a city, but the largest urban sprawl contain different locales. So yeah, I mean, you could easily get lost in a big city, and that shouldn't be an issue. Um,
Yeah.
Dissonance is something that's not as important to demons as it is to angels, but it is still something that you want to try to avoid, especially when it comes to being dissonant toward your superior here.
Okay.
So do you want to go with Valefor?
Yeah, let's go with Valifor.
More than 3 days. Okay, so it's dissonant for you to stay in one locale for more than 3 days. That shouldn't be an issue. Now, what you need to understand by that is you wouldn't be able to have a role with your like a job basically for your vessel because of
Yeah.
course you're an angel or you're a demon, so you don't have a body. In
Yeah.
order to inhabit someone, you either possess someone, which is a specific band that can do that, or you create your own right out of the symphony itself. If What that means is that basically you just inhabit a shell and you can kind of do whatever you want with it, but if that shell dies, then you're thrown back to hell into your prince and they might be pissed because you're
Got
not
it.
supposed to. You're a soldier in a war. So it would be more difficult. You'd have to have a really specific type of role if you wanted one that allowed you to travel frequently. Then you wouldn't have any problem with this at all. Now, the band attunements for a djinn working for Valefor, they can only attune themselves to one person at a time, but the
Mhm.
subject of that attunement becomes enthralled with the demon, the equivalent of a servant resource, at a level equal to the being's celestial forces, acting as his servant for as long as the attunement lasts. A djinn may attune to another celestial, but the celestial does not become enthralled with the djinn. So that's interesting. That's almost a de facto. Whenever you need someone to do something for you, you just attune to them, and they just sort of do act as
Yep.
your. That's funny. All right, that's kind of cool.
A little
So
bit why I picked it.
your attunement, sort of shorthand for this, is going to be. I'm just going to say servant resource.
but pretty much only like one at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, it's really just an act of you using your resonance to turn on or turn that off. So if you're in the middle of having someone serve you and you see someone that's more effective in the moment, you can drop that attunement and connect up to a new one. So I mean, I'll have to look at the mechanics of how long or whatever, but ostensibly that's a pretty powerful thing. Okay, so the way that character creation works here is just a point buy system. Um,
Okay.
ostensibly, you can choose either one of these attunements from Valefor or both of them, but they each cost 10 character points. Now, because you start with 9 forces as a new character, you have 36 total points to spend. So 10 is a lot. So you really need to make sure you like these if
Okay.
you want to actually buy them. You don't have to, it's optional. So the first
Okay.
attunement, and during gameplay, you may be rewarded them if he feels like you did a good job in the mission he sends you on.
Okay.
So the first one is passage. With a successful agility roll, the demon may open a lock. Some are harder than others, so it's very much like a thief. That's interesting.
Mhm.
And the second one is swipe. For 2 essence, the demon may touch a corporeal object and make it vanish for a number of minutes equal to its celestial forces. It reappears later with the demon wherever he is. That's interesting. Okay. Huh. Very klepto.
Mhm.
He's a very rogue servant. I dig it. Do any of those look interesting to you?
Yeah, where are you? Are you in the like just main book? What page
Yeah,
is
I'm on
that?
page 181. Looking at Valefor's Servitor Attunements. Powers only available to people who are
Oh,
actually
okay. I see.
serving
I see.
them.
Okay.
So we don't have to buy it right now. We'll get to that part of the game, but I just want to make sure you're aware of them so you're sort of thinking that they are abilities that you have an option of. When it says for 2 essence,
Mhm.
you have 9 essence. Every beginning celestial starts with 9. You use that to sort of build your character. And you use essence for a number of different things. One of them, for that attunement, sometimes attunements use essence. Sometimes you want to spend an essence for luck, increase your ability, gives you a +1 on a roll, for example. And then
Yeah.
other times there's songs, which are basically like magical spells that celestials can use. Those songs can cost essence as well.
Okay.
Anytime you use essence, it's like throwing a rock into a pond. It creates a ripple that the more you use it once, the more that ripple spreads and other celestials can hear it. This is a
Okay.
game where it's a war between heaven and hell, so you
Got it.
kind of want to try to stay on the down low as much as you possibly can unless you really have to just use essence. The good part about that is that while a celestial may hear you in the symphony, the disturbance you create by spending essence, they don't necessarily know it's you. They just know
Got
it
it.
happened in an area. And so there are certain skills that people can pick up that will let them figure out who it is. But, if you want to be super sneaky about it, you still can and use essence. Um, so just always keep that in mind. All right. So what do you think
Yeah,
about either of those? You think?
think let's Hmm, both would be so helpful.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, you could get both. Let's put a pin in that right
Okay, we'll put
now
a pin in that.
while
Yeah.
we're thinking about it. And let me write down your prints here. And the word is theft. Okay. So there's 3 different forces that reflect the 3 different realms in this game's reality. There's the
Okay.
celestial, which is your will and perception. Demons really focus on will, angels really focus on perception, and it is basically tied to the celestial realm of heaven and hell. Ethereal is your mental attributes of intelligence and precision, and it's tied to the dream realm called the marches. The corporeal one is tied to earth and is focusing on your physicality of strength and agility. So you have 9 forces to spread out amongst these 3 realms.
Okay.
Depending on the type of character you want to play, you may be a little bit more on agility. You may want to be a little bit more on intelligence or precision or perception. It just depends on how you feel like your character would be. And throughout gameplay, instead of experience points, you're given points so that you can actually add new forces and boost up your stats that way as well. So,
Okay.
how do you think you kind of want to lay these down? We've had people go really heavy into corporeal stuff. We've had people go even across the board. It's just really up to you. I will say we will not be going into heaven and hell or the marches unless the players take us there. I'm not planning on having you guys go there.
Okay. I definitely think agility, intelligence versus precision. So let's see. What is something that like precision gives you, or that
Right, that relies on it. So
yeah.
agility is going to be like dexterity.
Yeah.
Precision is going to be the conceptual side of dexterity. So with ranged weapons, if you want to shoot a pistol or a rifle, for example, you would use
Okay.
precision.
Okay.
I think driving even uses precision on skills, but
Okay.
stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
driving moves.
then will.
So will is your ability to convince other people to do things and overcome other people trying to convince you to do things. It's also directly connected to how many soul hit points you have. So
Okay.
how strong you are. Demons like it because not only does it inform how much celestial damage you can take, because there's 3 different forms of hit points basically, but it also allows you to dominate others through suggestion, which is a very demonic thing to do.
Yeah. Okay. Is it recommended to have like 1 point in each thing, or can you have things that just have like no points in them?
Right. So you have to have at least 1 in every realm.
Okay.
And then from there, you just build it however you'd like.
Okay. And does that 1 come from the 9?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's just do that then. Let's just do one for each.
So you got 6 to move around.
Oh, okay. So it's not like I have to pick strength or agility.
Correct.
It's
So
both of them.
yeah. So the force, the amount of forces you have in one of the 3 realms, informs how many character points you have to distribute between your characteristics of strength and agility. So, for example, if you only had 1 in corporeal, you would have 4 points to divvy up between strength and agility.
Okay. I get it.
It's initially
Let's just do 3 even then. 3, 3, 3.
Okay. All right, so you have 12 points in each of them to divvy between the characteristics associated with it. So how do you want to deal with corporeal with your strength and agility? You got 12 points.
12 points. Let's do Let's do 4 in strength, 8 in agility.
Nice. What about ethereal?
Let's do 6 and 6.
Nice.
And then let's do 8 and 4.
Nice. Okay, so let's do the hit points for each of these really quick. Corporeal's a little more difficult, so we'll deal with that last.
Okay.
But your damage is measured in mind hits for ethereal. Your total mind number is determined by multiplying your ethereal forces times your intelligence. So 3 times 6, is that 18? Is that math?
Mm-hmm. That's math. Yep.
I hate having to ask because I'm an idiot. All right,
You're
and
good.
celestial is your soul hits. Your soul number is determined by multiplying your celestial forces times your will. So 3 times 8, what is that, 24?
Yeah.
I'm a genius. I can do child math. Jeez. And then let's talk about the corporeal one, because this is entirely dependent on your vessel. So at this point, we need to just use the character points you have to fill out the resources that you have. So this isn't like physical resources like artifacts, though they could be. This is more like if you have a vessel, what level the vessel is, because that's going to cost you.
Okay.
Whether it has charisma, whether it has a job like called a role, and what the status is associated with that role. And then, of course, the skills that you have, the songs that you may know. And there is an option of doing servants, though, because this is the first time everyone's playing, I'm trying to keep everyone without having a starting servant. You'll be able to turn people and make them servants, but I don't want you to spend any of your character points on them yet.
Okay.
And then there's something called a discord. Now, this is something that you can generate through gameplay, and it's like a negative resource. So it's like a flaw, but it's serious. Like it's you going against your natural nature of your natural demon nature. So they're not encouraged, but they do give you extra points
Okay.
if you want to have one. And they come in the forms of corporeal, ethereal, and celestial discords. Celestial discords are the most challenging because they get in the way of you regenerating your essence. So every day at sunset, because you're a demon, you get one essence back. And then there are certain rites that you can engage in that will also give you certain essence back. And
Okay.
for the Veil, for those rights are spend 1 hour in really spend 1 hour in 80 plus mile per hour winds and you get an essence back. That's a weird right.
Cool.
And the other one is steal more than $200 worth of material goods
Nice.
and you
Okay.
get an essence. Essence is very much sort of like it's like money ostensibly. I mean, not only can you use it to spend to engage in songs and um, extra luck to complete a task, but you also can like tip people with essence. You can give it to people, and it's a huge way of saying thank you for doing something. You're just giving a
Okay.
taste of your essence. So I'm
Okay.
hoping that people are going to be, sort of using their essence throughout gameplay.
Okay.
All right, so let's. What are you thinking about Vessel? Is this something that you want your body to um, like have a job? You know you have to travel around frequently. You don't have to have a job. You can just treat your vessel as a like a car, just something you have to inhabit when you're on Earth.
Okay.
But the higher level the vessel you have, the higher hit points you have for that vessel.
Okay. So does like staying with your vessel for longer give you more like hit points with it or more experience with it, or does it matter?
No, it doesn't matter. It's basically you're creating this form out of nothingness, and it's
Okay.
only as strong as you're able to make it.
Okay. Okay. Um I haven't really given much thought to that because I'm not really sure
Yeah. I would
what
say
goes
that
into it.
the hit points can vary a lot because they are influenced by the amount of forces you have. So, for
Okay.
example, we have people with hit points of like 16. They have like a vessel of 1 to 3 levels. There's a
Okay.
max of 6. Um,
Okay.
and they just don't have a lot of hit points, but that's not really what's important because you can dodge most attacks if you have the dodge skill. You can, there are ways you can heal yourself up. There's ways of getting around having low hit points. The problem is if you do die, it can actually harm you and like traumatize your spirit itself. So you want to make sure that you can protect yourself. The other side of that coin is Chris in the chat. His character we just made earlier today, and he has like 120 because he put all of his forces over in corporeal, except for the one for ethereal and celestial. And so he's a really powerful vessel to
Okay.
walk around on the earth, but you don't really need it that much.
Okay.
So it's really kind of up to you. Um, the vessels they cost 3 points per level. You have
Mhm.
36 total skill points. I'm sorry, I don't know why I say skill. Character points to
Okay.
flesh out your character with all of your skills, all your songs and everything, including your vessel. So it's a
Okay.
strategic choice.
Okay. Okay. So if I just did like, okay.
And with experience throughout the game, you can
Yeah.
boost up your vessel as well.
Yeah. So, okay, so your vessel's kind of just like your skin that you wear on Earth, essentially.
Exactly. It can be more tied into the regular operations of the Earth if you take a role and you have status.
Okay.
But otherwise, it's just skin.
Okay.
So what do you think?
That's the hard part, because if I'm doing something that's can't stay in one place for more than 3 days, you kind of want something like some type of a person that's going to be roaming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. So this would be like roles? Is that kind of what that is?
No, so a role is separate. A role is something you can apply to your vessel,
Okay.
but you don't have to. So if you
Okay.
do have a role, yours has to be one that travels a lot. It's basically your job. You know,
Got it. Okay.
you could do that, or you could just not have a role at all and just move around as you like and not worry about it.
Okay.
The only real benefit of roles is the role playing mechanic of it, of you being able to tap into some sort of professional resources. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So then, and the points for that are basically just like if I want to buy skills, levels, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So each skill takes 1 point per level. Each
Okay.
song is generally 1 point per level. The
Okay.
vessel is 3 points per level, and the
Okay.
role is a little bit more than that, I think.
Okay. This is when I feel like I need to like map this out.
Well, we can adjust this on the fly too.
Yeah.
And the one that really is difficult is when you start dealing with your role and your status. That's when it gets pretty complex.
Cool. Okay. So I have 36 points.
Yep.
36. Okay, so let's just say between 3 vessels.
So you don't have to have 3 different vessels. You can just have one if you want.
Oh,
It's just it costs 3 points per level of a vessel.
of a vessel. Okay.
And a vessel can be a human, animal. Well, those are kind of the only 2 that are open initially.
And you can switch between vessels? Is there like a limit on that?
No, I mean it takes, depending on your role, it'll take you more or less time to do it, but you can do it on the fly at whim. I think you might have to spend an essence to switch your vessels if you have multiple ones. So it says to switch forms, simply spend a point of essence, and the celestial seems to shift and change shape over a period of 1 round, taking the new form. So if you do have 2 of them, you could have one being an animal and one being a human, and then just switch at will between the 2.
Yes, that is what we are doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Madness Comic Network, thanks for tuning in, man. I'll have to look at that after the fact.
Okay, so if I want to be, so do animals then also have like levels and points? Like how to?
Yeah,
Let me see
that's
if
how
I
you determine their hit points, their body points.
points. Okay.
And that's really all it means. It's just how hardy that vessel is.
Got it. Okay. Here we go. Page 190. Okay.
Yeah, those are just basic examples. But we can pretty much do whatever you'd like.
Oh, no, I'm definitely doing a cat.
Oh, nice.
Definitely.
Okay, well, I'll put that as your first one.
Yeah.
Any idea what level you'd want it?
Let's start with level 2. So that's what? 3 points?
So it's 3 points per level. So it'd be 6
Or
points.
6 points?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start with that.
Okay, so you got 30 points left. And let's deal with the body hits for your cat first.
Okay.
For basic physical damage, it's measured in body hits. The total body number is determined by adding your vessel level to your corporeal forces, so 5, and multiplying the rest by your strength, so
Okay.
4. So you have 20. Your cat has 20 hit points. That's great.
Perfect.
Strong kitty cat. You're going to be going around showing your eye of Sauron to everyone. You're welcome, everyone. You're welcome.
Beth,
So
my love for you.
you can actually talk as a cat because ultimately you're inhabiting the skin that is the cat.
Perfect.
Rather than taking the cat's stats at all.
Perfect.
And then, did you want to do a human
Yeah,
vessel?
let's do a human.
Do you want to do a male or female?
Let's do female.
And what level do you think?
So here I'm thinking, okay, I have 30 points. So if we do level 3, that's 9 points. So that's 21 left. Yeah, let's do that. Level 3.
All right. So -9. And then, again, it was adding your vessel level to your corporeal forces. So 3 plus 3 is 6 times 4.
24.
We've got body of 24. You get 21 skill points. Okay, left.
Okay.
Now, you can apply something called charisma, which you obviously know what that means from other games, to your vessel. There's also negative charisma. Charisma, it just improves your reaction rolls to others. So there's only 3 total levels of charisma that you could buy, and each costs 2 points. Let me verify that, but I'm pretty sure it's 2. No, come on now. I just skipped over it. Yeah, so there's 3 levels of charisma costing 2 character points each, and each level gives you +1 to reaction rolls for other people. You can apply it to only one vessel. So if you wanted both of them to have it, you could then add it to it. You also have negative charisma, which then subtracts reaction rolls and is just sort of a role-playing version of that. And then there's also charisma only applied to one gender. So you only want to be appealing to men or women, for example, then it would only cost half that. So it would be 1 point, but it would only work. The reaction bonus would only work against whoever you choose.
Got it.
Now, you don't have to have any charisma. It's just an extra bonus if you wanted it.
Let's do 1.1 charisma into the human. And that was 2 points?
If you want it to be universal to all genders, then yeah, it's 2 points.
Yeah.
So that's a +1 reaction roll. Okay.
I think cats are charismatic enough.
You're the first person to choose an animal vessel. That's really interesting. To be fair, I'm not sure I told other people. Now I'm starting to wonder. But I mean, for what you've sort of sketched out for your band and for your prince, I mean, that's a pretty good animal to have. Sneak in and out of places.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got 21 points left. I wanted to talk to you really quick about skills.
19 is what I have.
Oh, because the
charisma.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
So skills, you can try to use any skill with even if you don't have any levels in it, but then you're gonna have to use the default modifier.
Okay.
Nearly every skill is a default modifier of more than one. So, for example, acrobatics, the default modifier is -3. The whole purpose of this game is to roll under your target number. And of course, any negatives get you more challenging to do that. So you want to make sure that you have at least one level in anything that you find remotely possible that you're going to be using throughout the game. And you have an opportunity to dodge any attack unless it's a song. So I would highly recommend you at least take dodge. But if you wanted, you could take a level in dodge and a level in acrobatics, and you can actually add them together and then just use the acrobatic skill for whatever that is. You know what I mean? Like vaulting and somersaulting and stuff.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that.
Okay, so let's, did you want to start with dodge?
Yeah, we can start with dodge.
So dodge is an agility-based skill. And how many levels did you want in it? It's 1 to 1. And there's a total of 6 possible.
Let me just take 1 right now and then see what, after I take kind of the skills I think I want, then I'll go back and kind of fill in where I think I need to fill in.
Okay. So the list of skills starts at 73, page 73. Did you want acrobatics?
Yes.
I'm really seeing this character come alive here. How many levels in acrobatics did you want?
Yeah, we'll just start with 1 again.
Okay.
Let me just kind of go through and see what I think might be helpful.
Yeah, I'm getting a very sort of cat burglar vibe from your character thus far. Maybe you're a hired, you're sort of put on
literally a cat burglar.
Quite literally.
All right.
Or at least to get in and out.
Yeah, we're going to do detect lies.
Nice. Okay, that's perception.
1
level. Okay. While this isn't solely a fighting game, it does happen. So if you think that you would ever need to get in a scrape, consider ranged and handheld weapons and throwing and stuff like that.
Yeah. Let's do escape.
Ooh. Oh, okay. That's interesting. So that, just for everyone watching, it's freedom from knots, handcuffs, straitjackets, and other annoyances. So bad blind dates.
Yes.
The highest of agility or precision. Yours is agility. Escape. All right. Cool. You got 15 points I'm showing.
Yes. My neighbor's dog is so annoying. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You're just barking at your cat form.
Yeah.
Move silently seems like it might help you.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking lockpicking too, but
For sure.
part of being the demon prince that I have is I could take that passage and you can basically pick anything. Well, I mean, it has like
Yeah.
a chance to it, of course, but so I don't know if those would stack or not.
Let's see. With a successful agility roll, so that is just an attunement. It doesn't even require like a skill or anything. I guess the difference between would be that just lets you do an agility roll and figure it out,
Yeah,
whereas having lock picking adds its level and the agility roll, and it costs less.
got it.
Because yeah, you already have that handcuffs one.
Yeah, of the
Just have
escape.
And if it costs 10, I'm not sure it's worth it if you're going to take these other skills.
All right, let's do ranged weapon.
Okay, so which kind? It's precision. It forces you to choose between rifle, pistol, or
Rifle.
longbow,
Oh.
or something similar to that.
Let's do pistol.
Pistola. Okay, I'm showing 14. I should remind you about songs,
Okay.
magic spells that you can, sort of use. They also cost now that you're sort of getting down to the lower skill point levels. So songs have 3 different forms. Each
Okay.
form does something slightly different to the theme of the song. And if you know more than one form, meaning corporeal, ethereal, or celestial, you get a +1 or a +2 the more you know. So if you know 2 forms, it's a +1, 3 forms is +2. And they're basically attraction, charm, dreams, entropy, form, harmony, healing, light, motion, possession, projection, shields, thunder, and tongues. And each of those have different, effects depending on the style you choose. Just by way of example, on tongues, the corporeal version lets you speak in anyone who talks to you, no matter what the language, you hear it in your own language, and you can then speak back to them, and they'll understand it in their own language. The ethereal version of that allows you to send mental communication to people like ESP or telepathy or something, and then the celestial version lets you just send a message at any distance to anyone, no matter where they are. They could be in hell, and you could just send a message from Earth, which normally you wouldn't be able to do. So they just each have different forms and stuff. Like shield is interesting because it can protect you. Light is a really interesting one because it can actually like cause harm in certain forms, in addition to just of course, lighting up areas. Healing. We have some people with this song of healing in the group already, but that's just sort of regeneration. So do any of these sound interesting at all?
Honestly, entropy kind of sounds
That's
fun.
a crazy one. So for everyone watching, the corporeal version of that song gives the caster control over the ravages of time. You can cause something to age or grow young a number of years equal to whatever your check digit is. Ethereal song version is a mental attack, bringing terror and nightmares to a victim. The celestial version of that song is a systematic breakdown of their psyche. It causes them to hallucinate and take no action at all for a number of rounds equal, just stunning them ostensibly. So that's very interesting depending on the form. Do a little Benjamin Button on someone.
Right. I don't know, the ethereal one kind of sounds fun.
The ethereal one, mental attack, bringing terror and nightmares to a single victim. They make an intelligence roll to resist. If they fail, they take mind hits equal to the check digit of the successful roll times the essence spent in the song. So that's interesting because not many people have put a lot of thought into their mind hits, their mind points. But you could easily get around the physicality of an enemy by just tearing their mind apart, and then they can't operate. So that's
I think
very
I'll
interesting. All right,
take that.
what's that?
I think I'll take that.
All right, Song of Entropy under Ethereal, and just one level.
How many points does it cost per level?
I believe they're 1-to-1.
Let's say 2 levels.
Okay. Nice. So you can reach out and just crush someone's mind. Let's see, what else? I don't know, do you want to charm your way out of situations? Do you want to... Motion's interesting. Grants you freedom from gravity. We just dealt with that earlier. It's sort of like a Neo for the corporeal version. You can just sort of fly and move incredibly fast. Of course, if people see that, they're going to freak out. But Song of Motion lets you manipulate the world with your thoughts. You can mentally control a number of pounds equal to your forces. Throwing something within the song. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like it's just for throwing stuff. But you could probably manipulate that to being like, you know, like earth to mud or rock to mud or something like that, like an old D&D spell. Let's see. Thunder's pretty cool. It attacks all the corporeal, ethereal, and celestial at the same time.
I think I'm gonna take form ethereal.
Okay, so the ethereal song of form lets its performer fade from visibility, turning his corporeal vessel into a shadow matter. While this doesn't make him insubstantial, he can't walk through walls, it does provide near invisibility. Wow, that's dope. All right. That's cool. Song of Form. And what? How many levels?
2.
Nice. Showing you have 10 points left.
Yeah.
Oof. So we can go back to skills if you'd like, or if you want to look at more songs.
I'm gonna go back to skills. So the ones based on my prints, you said those were 10?
Yeah, so the
Goodbye.
attunements.
The attunements. Okay.
From Veil 4. So swipe and passage are the two.
Let's see what those do real quick. Again. Swipe was just like you could take anything, you just like make it disappear and then it appears on you later.
Yeah, it just can't be heavier in pounds than your total number of forces. So 9 pounds is your limit.
Okay.
It's a pretty cool skill, though. I mean,
Pretty cool skill. I think instead, I think I'm gonna take lockpick and move silently.
okay,
Why do I
lockpicking
always end up
precision.
building a thief?
I know. So lockpick in how many levels?
Let's just do one each for right now. So I have 8 left.
And agility for move silently.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Nice.
All right, let's go back. I'm gonna put 1 extra point in everything so that everything is 2. So
Okay.
dodge, acrobatics, detect lies, escape, ranged weapon, lockpick, move silently. And then I'd have 1 left.
6, 7 with detect lies. I'm showing that was only 7 to put it to 2.
Yeah, so I'd have 1. I had 8, so I'd have 1 left.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my math is wrong. We've established that already, though. So, okay. So, what do you think? I'm trying to think of something that might help you with the game. Options might include like tracking, driving, possibly running, possibly savoir-faire. Small weapon, fighting might help. You have acrobatics, but it's not going to help you with like fisticuff, just going toes with someone.
Yeah.
Knowledge, depending on what the knowledge is, might help in some instances. Escape, you already have. Computer operation, I don't know if that's going to be a big deal. This is the time era that this is set in is going to be like 1998-ish.
Okay.
So not quite today, but pretty close. Yeah, that's kind of it. I don't know. How many points did you say you had left?
I show 1.
Okay.
9, 15, 16, 17.
I mean, there's medicine that might help.
20,
Lying. I don't know if you want to be good at lying or not.
35. Yeah, I have 1 left. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do 1 in lying. The
Okay.
last one.
Higher of intelligence or precision. Lying. All right.
They're equal.
Nice. Okay, so you definitely have a thief build type character.
Yeah.
I dig it. I think that's going to be an interesting group dynamic because no one else really has this style of a character at all. We have a pretty broad range of different types of people. Do you want to name your character now, or you want to think about it for a little bit?
I can name her now. Let's see. Let's do Zoroz. Zoroz.
Okay. Zoros. I imagine a accent applied. Perhaps you're Greek. Zoros. All right. Well, that's a pretty cool character you got here. When it comes to equipment and stuff, very much more loosey goosey about it. I'm not really like keeping track of rounds or anything like that. If you for your pistol, whatever type of pistol. But I would encourage you to read all about your band, read all about your superior, and then your skills and songs and stuff, just so it's fresh in your head. And then I'll go ahead and put together a sheet for every player that just distills, so you don't have to hop around the manual, because the game manual is kind of all over the place. It's a little bit frustrating. So
a lot of just searching for key terms.
yeah. So I'll try to make a little cheat sheet for you guys. We are going to be, I'm going to have a Roll20 game for it, but it's not going to be miniature based. It's just going to be reference for rolling the dice because it is specific. You roll the 3 dice at once. 2 of them need to be similar because that's for your target number, and the third one is for your check digit. If you succeed or fail, the check digit tells you how good or bad you did. And so, like, for example, combat, someone runs up to you trying to punch you, they roll their fighting, you roll your dodge. If you're successful and they're successful, it comes down to the check digit to determine how successful they were to hitting you. So they might do a glancing blow where you don't take any damage, or if you fail your dodge, then they do like straight up just hit you. So that's why dodging acrobatics is really important, especially for your character type here. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to this. I will put out an email asking everyone to get together when, find a good time that we can get together to try this for the first game session. Like I mentioned to you, I think through email, I don't suspect it'll take more than 3 sessions, and it probably won't even take 3. It just depends on how well people want to role play, how well they want to work together, or just cause conflict. But it should be 2 or 3 sessions, and we're good.
Sounds fun. Awesome. Sounds like looking forward to it. It's different from anything I've ever done. So it'll be a good experiment.
Very, very interesting. Well, thank you so much for taking time with me, and everyone else watching this. Thank you guys for watching. Let us know what you think about the character that she had built here. Thank you guys so much for watching In Nomine's Piece of Blade Session 0. Subscribe and ring the bell if you're new to the channel. Don't forget to click the like button and comment to let other people know about this award-winning role-playing game and this channel. And as always, like it or not, evil spelled backwards is live. So get out there and be evil. Slightly different than my other channels.